guys. How are you doing today? I hope that you've been having a great week and that you're doing great and loving yourself. I have decided to do a little vlog right now. If you hear noises, that is my landlords and their great humongous dogs that live above me, and there's really nothing I can do about the noise because it's all the time. So I just wanted to talk today about where I've been and what has been going on. I've been struggling this week. I have a lot of things going on in my life right now that I can't really get a grip upon, and so I've been struggling, and it's not things I care to share right now, but it does involve my life, my personal life, nothing to do with online or anything like that. It just has to do with things going on in my life. So I just want to give you a little backstory. So a little backstory. I've been clinically diagnosed since I was 13. But even before that, I was seeing therapists from like 3rd grade on. A little disclaimer, I was an abused child, and that was a very difficult part of my life, but it wasn't the main problem in my life. I have just always been very sensitive. I take the world's problems on, is basically the way I should explain it to you. And sometimes I hurt for other people more than I hurt for myself, and it's almost a disconnect for me, and I've just always struggled with that. So when I was 13, 2 main people in my life passed away that year, and I was end of 7th grade, beginning of 8th grade, and I tried to kill myself because I just did not have a will to live anymore. I was lost and I was broken, and those 2 years were really hard for me. It seemed like 7th grade was the worst grade I had in school. It seemed like everybody was against me. I had no friends, it felt like, and I just did not want to be alive. And so when my Momo, who was like my 3rd cousin, but she was a lot older than me, so she was like a grandmother, when she passed away of cancer, I just kind of fell apart, and she was really the only one that knew about the abuse and tried to shield me from some of it. So her dying, I lost my shield, and I was frankly scared to death. So after I was hospitalized for depression and trying to commit suicide, I was diagnosed as bipolar. I had OCD to the extremist measure possible, and after that they also diagnosed me with ADD. A lot of things changed in my life. They gave me medicine that like made me the angriest teenager on 2 feet, and I progressively did things that were just stupid and crazy for the rest of my school time. So when I went to high school, I skipped school. I didn't go to school. I was homeschooled some of that time. If I could avoid church, I didn't go to church. I avoided my grandparents, who I loved dearly. So while I was in high school, I started drinking and smoking and smoking weed if I could, and of course I had already had a great addiction to prescription pain medicines and sleeping pills even before I was out of 5th grade. So that was continued onto high school as well. So sorry about that noise. It's just really bad. I hope it's not covering everything I'm saying. So in high school, I was just barely making it. I had a teacher that hated me just because I was who I was. I had friends, but I chose to be a loner in some ways. I just rather had stay in the library and read than do anything else when I was in high school. So maybe one day I'll share more about that with you. Not today. This is supposed to be about my journey. So I had counselors on and off in high school. I had therapists. I was on and off medicine. And then I did not finish high school. I had like 5 credits before I could finish. And all my friends had graduated. Well, a majority of my friends had graduated that year. And my grandpa got really sick. So I did not go back to school to finish those courses. I started taking care of my grandfather full time. And then my grandmother passed away when I was 18. And when she passed away, I lost everything. I lost my mind, actually. And my mother did some messed up things that year, and that helped push me over the edge, and I decided I wanted to die. And pain medicine, smoking, drinking, nonstop, and soon I would smoke weed and to go to sleep, because that was the only way I was sleeping. I would take medicine to get through the day, and I really just wanted to die. I wanted to just not wake up. And one day my best friend walks in and I'm holding a gun, and I basically had pulled the trigger, and the one bullet I put in the chamber did not go off. That was a pretty scary moment, and I decided I could not do that. I could not be a dramatic person and kill myself or commit suicide like that. I said, okay, I'll do this a way that, it won't hurt anybody. So I was not in my right brain, obviously. And I decided to eat myself to death. I knew I had a outstanding heart condition, and I knew that weight would put stress on my heart, and then I would just maybe not wake up one morning. So within a year, I gained about 200 pounds, probably. I mean, I woke up drinking, and I went to bed drinking, and I did not really stop eating that whole time either. So it was purposeful when I gained weight. And this bad, god-awful just way of life continued until I was 24. And my grandpa was getting more and more progressed in his Parkinson's, and then Alzheimer's kind of come into play. And I knew I didn't have much time to prove to him that I was going to be okay. So I started dieting. I started swimming and all of this stuff. And I got on to some medicine. because between 18 and 24, I did not have insurance, so therefore I never went to the doctor. And part of my getting better was to get sober, go to the doctor, get on medications for my bipolar and my depression, and figure out what I could and couldn't do with my weight. So all these things progressed. I had major issues during that time with my mentality, my just being alive. I did really stupid, messed up things in my personal life during that period. But eventually I did find my husband, or my husband actually found me. I moved to New York. And when I moved to New York, I become very obsessed with getting treatment for my bipolar and my anxiety and my OCD, because I didn't want to be that way anymore. And I was obsessed with the fact that I thought that medication was the answer. So I started seeing a therapist, a psychiatrist, and they had me on so much medicine. At one point I was taking 4 different kinds of pills for my bipolar, the OCD, and the anxiety. And one day I just said, I don't want to be dead anymore. I don't want to feel dead inside. I want to be able to have emotions. I want to be able to make decisions that I know I made and not medicine. And I went to my psychiatrist and I said, okay, what's the best way to get off all these medications? And she looked at me and she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I don't want to take it anymore. I want to be off of it. I think I can handle it. And at this time I was working 2 jobs, and I was very active in my church, and I also had a really great support system with my friends. So I really felt like I could handle it, and I did handle it for quite some time, and I was doing really good. I've gone through so much in the last 3 years, 4 really, last 4 years, and I did it all without medication. But this new phase of my life, I am trying to get a better, healthy outlook on life. I'm trying to be healthier with my body. I'm trying to be healthier with my thinking, my actions, how I treat myself, and what I do for myself. And so today, even though it was not very pretty outside, and even though I knew I wasn't going to get to do exactly what I wanted to do, I put on my happiest dress, my little lemon dress, and I did my makeup, I fixed my hair, and I was like, okay, I'm ready, let's go for a ride. And we did. We went for a ride, and it wasn't the perfect day, but it was not a bad day. And just getting out, feeling this fresh air from the sunroof, just knowing I'm going to see the ocean, it was just very helpful for me. So I don't want people to think that I'm saying you should not be on medication, because I am not saying that. I am saying for me, it was not the best thing for me. I was dead inside. But I also feel like it can help you a lot. I wanted to share a few things that I do to help myself. One of the things they did to me when I went in the hospital for my OCD is they would not let me take a bath for like 3 days when I first went in. And that was the worst 3 days of my life. I was miserable. So I struggle with my OCD really badly. I obsess about things. I feel dirty. I feel like if a hair is out of place, I'm gonna go crazy. And I double check things. I wash my hands constantly. And I stress about everything. Nothing is ever perfect for me, and it's very, very stressful. So some of the things that I do is like, I know it sounds crazy, but the whole getting my hair healthier and not washing it every day has been something that I continuously try very hard to do only every 3 days, because that's part of my self-care and me trying to handle my OCD. With my bed, right now my bed is not made, and that is like almost a not happening thing. I always make my bed, and I always like have to have it perfect or I cannot get in it that night. And so like certain times I leave the bed unmade just so I can say, okay, the world is not going to end because your bed is not made. And I know these are like stupid, probably sounding things that I do to fight my OCD, but it is really something that helps me. I don't do a lot to my hair because I don't like products in my hair. I feel dirty when I have products in my hair. So I do try to use products a little bit more now. And these are just small things that I do. I kind of force myself to go to the bathroom when I'm out in public, which I used to make myself really sick because I would not go to a public restroom. And I don't even think that most people would think these things are stuff that you have to make yourself do, but for me, that was stuff that I had to make myself do. So with my bipolar, I used to paint a lot, and I loved it, and it was very self-medicating, and it was a very efficient way for me to transition through all my different phases. And I could always paint usually, and I have not been able to paint in a long time. So I sit down with my paints, and I made myself paint a couple of months, like 2 months ago, and that felt amazing. That was something I made myself do. YouTube is becoming therapy for me in a way because it's something, a goal I set for myself. I'm going to post 3 times a week, and I need to do that. I need to make content. I need to get dressed. I need to look pretty, or try to look pretty, and do this. So this is a therapy for me. I have this great book that's called 3,000 Questions About You, and or maybe it's right here, and you're sitting on it, so that's why I'm looking. It's actually 3,000 Questions About Me, and it is a great self-help book. You just go in the book when you feel like it, and you start answering these questions, and you're like, wow, I've never thought about that before. Why haven't I thought about that before? I need to think about that. And then you start processing all these emotions that you did not know you had, or these feelings that you did not know you had, and it's really kind of quite a journey that I'm finding myself on with this book. Now, this past week, I let my depression get a hold of me, and I let it pull me down. And honestly, I did not leave that bed very much this past week. I cleaned up my house, and then I would get back in my bed, and that was my life. I hate when I let the depression take over, and I hate that I shut my friends out, and I hate that I don't even recognize myself when I'm like that, but it does happen. And sometimes you have to be forgiving to yourself before anybody else can forgive you. So I'm trying to forgive myself for letting the depression take over. And this week I am determined to not let it win, and I'm determined to fight it and to win the battle. So we're going to see. Hold me accountable. I'm going to do an update next Monday and let you know how my week went and how I fought against the depression. So I think that was a longer summary than I wanted, but it was a summary I do plan on breaking this topic down into sections and talking a little bit about each section in the future. So today I self-medicated by taking a drive with my husband. We went to one of my favorite places today with a Slurpee. You know, I can't drink these in the wintertime because it's like they give me brain freeze really, really badly, no matter how slowly I drink them. But during the summer, I live on these. And 7-Eleven, please hurry and put out the cotton candy flavor. I love Slurpee. I rarely have it. I don't really drink soda very much. So, yes, that's my treat for the day. If you are struggling with depression or any type of psychological issues, seek out help. There's plenty of people in the world that will help you. There's hotlines, there is random people online such as myself. Feel free to DM me on Instagram, on Facebook, on here, and I will absolutely reply back as soon as I see it. And I just want you to know that you are not alone. Don't forget to be your own beautiful. Like, comment, and subscribe.